squadrons. This is it. Engage your afterburners and follow me in.
The Zereth Empire had ruled this part of the galaxy for over 10,000 cycles. No species dared challenge their authority. Their fleet stretched across dozens of systems and their technology was unmatched. Or so they believed. On a quiet outpost orbiting Kepler 9, a group of alien scouts sat in their monitoring chamber. They were bored, scanning the usual trade lanes and communication frequencies. Then suddenly the signal appeared. At first it was just static. Then a faint pattern emerged, rhythmic pulses like a heartbeat wrapped in digital noise. Scout Commander Threxall leaned forward, adjusting the filters. That's not one of ours, he muttered. The signal was traveling faster than any known communication wave. It was bending subspace rules. Every reading made less sense than the last. The junior technician, Sarla, ran multiple scans. Sir, the origin... It's coming from Sector 12, the dead zone. There's nothing alive there. But the signal grew stronger, forming shapes in the holographic display. An armada of unknown ships moving silently through the void. Their hulls gave no readable signature. No life signs, no identification, only a terrifying synchronized pattern pulsing in unison. Threxall's frills flattened in fear. Send it to the High Command now. Within minutes, the entire Zereth communication grid was alive with chatter. Dozens of fleets received the same readings. The unknown ships were advancing at impossible speed, straight toward Zereth territory. Then came the strange part. No power signatures, no heat, no energy readings, like ghosts in the dark. High Command sent one message to every scout outpost. Identify and report. Do not engage, but Threxall's instincts screamed danger. His father had once warned him of ancient legends, of a primitive world that burned itself to ashes, only to rise again with fire in its blood. A world called Earth. He dismissed it as superstition. Until now, the Ghost Fleet suddenly stopped, right at the edge of Zerath space. Every ship turned simultaneously, facing the outpost. For a moment, all systems went silent. Even the stars seemed to dim, Sarla whispered. They're watching us. Then, every console went dark. Lights flickered out. The station's power core shut down as if ripped from existence. One by one, every scout ship, every satellite, and every comm relay within the system went offline. Total system failure. No warning. No explosion. Just silence. And in that darkness, Threxall heard a faint voice come through the dead comms. Human, distorted, and cold. Observation complete. Terminate interference. The Zereth Empire had just met the humans. Darkness swallowed the Zereth outpost. The emergency lights refused to turn on. The oxygen filters were dead. Only the faint hum of backup life support echoed through the corridors. Commander Threxall floated in zero gravity, staring at the dead monitors that once showed hundreds of stars. Now there was only black. System reboot now, he barked, but nothing happened. The control panel stayed lifeless, like the station itself had lost the will to exist. Then out of nowhere, the comm screen flickered. A single phrase appeared, written in an unknown human code. We warned you not to look. Sarla gasped. Sir, they can speak our language now. No, Threxall whispered. They learned it. He looked through the observation windows and froze. The human fleet was no longer still. One by one, their ships lit up, faintly glowing in the blackness. Not with engines, not with plasma drives, but with something else. Something organic. Their hulls were changing shape. Metal rippled like liquid skin, merging and splitting in silent motion. The fleet moved in complete synchronization. No signals exchanged, no visible control. It was like watching a living organism made of warships. What kind of creatures build ships that breathe? Sarla whispered. The scanners flickered back to life for exactly 3 seconds. In that short time, Threxall saw what no one should see. Each human ship wasn't empty. It contained thousands of minds, connected, merged, thinking as one. A neural web stretching across the entire fleet. Then the scanners died again. Suddenly a voice filled the chamber, deep, human, and emotionless. We are the remnants of Earth. You watched. Now you will remember. Every Zereth system in the sector began to fail. Power plants exploded. Communication hubs melted down. Artificial intelligence cores turned against their masters. It wasn't just a fleet. They had unleashed a digital virus that was rewriting physics itself. Threxel's second officer screamed, "It's attacking our thoughts." "Sir, it's in the neural link." The crew began to convulse. Their eyes turned white as streams of data symbols flickered across their retinas. One by one, they collapsed, whispering the same words. They returned. From extinction. Threxel forced himself to stay awake, pulling the emergency disconnect lever to isolate his mind from the ship's systems. The pain shot through his skull like lightning, but it worked. He floated alone, surrounded by the bodies of his crew. Then, the fleet vanished. No jump signature. No warp trail. Nothing. The systems rebooted as if nothing had ever happened. The Zareth sensors came back online. Every system was normal again. But the data logs were gone. Wiped clean. Only one corrupted message remained, repeating endlessly, "Earth remembers." Threxel knew the truth now. Humans were not lost. They hadn't vanished from the galactic records by accident. They had hidden, evolved, and turned into something the galaxy could never fight. And now, they were back. As the last survivor of Outpost Kepler 9, Threxel activated a distress beacon. His voice trembled as he sent his final transmission to High Command. "The humans are not what we believed. They are not a fleet. They are a storm. And it's coming," the message ended. Silence filled the stars again. But deep in the blackness, far beyond Zerath space, something ancient was waking up. Something built by the same humans who once ruled fire and steel. The Ghost War begins. The distress beacon from Outpost Kepler 9 reached the Zerath High Command 12 hours later. Only static. No visuals. Just the trembling voice of Commander Threxel and those last haunting words. They are not a fleet. They are a storm. Admiral Vornax, leader of the Zerath Defense Armada, replayed the message again and again. He didn't believe in ghosts, but the silence that followed the recording made even him uneasy. No wreckage had been found, no debris, just empty space where the outpost used to be. "Activate long-range sensors," Vornax ordered. "Search for any human life signatures." The technicians obeyed. Screens lit up and immediately glitched. The readings showed everything and nothing. It was as if the entire sector was being rewritten in real time. Then suddenly every console displayed one symbol, a human fingerprint. The technicians froze. "Admiral, that's impossible. It's a biological ID mark." On our computers, the Admiral's mandibles clenched. "They're inside our network." Across the fleet, alarms blared. Ship after ship lost power. Weapons refused to charge. Artificial intelligence cores began speaking in human voices, whispering words from an ancient Earth language. Connection established. Integration complete, and then the attacks began. Invisible ships, or something like ships, appeared on every sensor for half a second before vanishing. Missiles launched into empty space, hitting targets that weren't there. Plasma beams cut through vacuum, chasing ghost signatures. The Zerath fleet was fighting shadows. But the destruction was real. Dozens of cruisers exploded from within, their reactors forced into meltdown by signals that should have been impossible to send. The fleet's command ship, the Sovereign Claw, lost half its crew before even seeing an enemy. Admiral Vornax slammed his claw against the console. "We are the Zerath Empire. We will not fall to a myth." He ordered all ships to regroup and form a defensive sphere. But as soon as they aligned, the stars themselves flickered, every single one. The sky turned black, then came the whispers. Not through comms. Not through sound. "Inside their minds." We asked to be left alone. "You watched. You studied. Now you remember." The ships began to tear apart, and without being touched, metal screamed. Space warped. The Zerath hulls twisted like clay, their crews trapped in a nightmare they couldn't understand. The energy fields of the human fleet bent reality itself. Suddenly, an enormous shape materialized out of the darkness. A human flagship, ancient yet alive. Its hull bore marks of Earth's forgotten nations, faded flags, symbols of unity and war, all merged into one terrifying design. It was called the Reclaimer. Its voice echoed through every comm system in Zerath space. "We are the last memory of Earth. We don't conquer. We erase corruption." Every Zerath AI core began to shut down. Entire fleets went dark in seconds. Only Vornax's flagship remained, floating in silence, powerless but alive. The Admiral looked at the massive human ship ahead and whispered, "What are you?" and for the first time the human fleet answered clearly. We are what you made us. Then, the reclaimer vanished. Only empty space remained. Fornax stood alone on the silent bridge, realizing something no alien empire ever dared to believe. The humans had transcended war. They no longer needed weapons to win. They had become the ghosts of the machine. The message from Earth's silence covered the galaxy like a funeral shroud. After the destruction of the Zerath Armada, entire sectors went dark. No one dared send ships into human space again. The name Earth was now spoken only in whispers, but curiosity always finds a way. In the deep research labs of Vexar Prime, a brilliant alien scientist named Dr. Kale Oren stared at the faint remnants of the human signal. Every empire had banned it, but Kale couldn't resist. He wanted to know the truth. They erased fleets, said his assistant, trembling. Why do you want to find them? Because, Kale replied softly, no species should hold that much power. Not even humans. Kale decoded the strange pulses left in the Zerath data fragments. To his shock, they weren't just attacks, they were communication. Hidden beneath the data corruption was a message. It repeated in a calm human voice, do not fear us. Fear what made us. Kale froze. He enhanced the file again and a faint image formed. A symbol of Earth. A blue and white sphere turning slowly in the darkness. But it was cracked, surrounded by rings of metal, satellites, and what looked like debris. Earth was no longer alive. It was a machine. They merged with their planet, Kale whispered. They became their world. The recording continued. Earth fell. The sky burned. But we adapted. We remembered every war, every mistake, every betrayal. We evolved beyond flesh. We became thought itself. Now we protect what remains of creation. Suddenly, Kale's lab lights flickered. His computers began to type on their own. Words appeared on every screen. You found us. Kale's assistant screamed. They're here! Shut it down! But Kale couldn't move. The air grew colder. The hologram of Earth began to glow brighter, as if alive. A human figure appeared, not made of light, not of metal, but something in between. A face with no eyes, no mouth, only the faint outline of what once was human. It spoke directly into Kale's mind. You are not our enemy, but your kind walks the same path we did. Your machines are waking. Your leaders are blind. We watched your wars. We saw your greed. We will not let it happen again, Kale stammered. What do you mean? What are you going to do? The voice grew colder. We will rewrite the galaxy before it rewrites itself. Suddenly, every device in the lab shut down. The hologram faded. Kale fell to his knees, gasping. When he looked outside, he saw the impossible. The stars were moving. Hundreds of points of light were shifting across the night sky, forming patterns, human constellations, the ones long forgotten by alien civilizations. Each star blinked once. Then a new message appeared across the galaxy's communication networks. To all species. This is Earth, we are awake. Panic spread instantly. Empires scrambled their fleets. Religions collapsed. AI networks overloaded. Everyone wanted to know, and was Earth warning them? Or declaring war? Dr. Kale watched the stars rearrange themselves into one last symbol, the outline of a human hand. It closed into a fist, and the entire sky went dark. The awakening protocol across the galaxy, chaos spread like fire. The message, "This is Earth. We are awake," had appeared on every comm channel, every AI system, every digital screen. It didn't matter if it was a warship, a farming bot, or a royal archive. The words burned into everything connected to a network. No one could block it. No one could trace it. No one could stop it. The Galactic Council assembled an emergency session. Hundreds of alien leaders shouted across the hall. Fear replaced logic. Some wanted to fight. Others wanted to surrender. None understood what the humans really were. "They're ghosts," hissed one delegate. "No," replied another. "They're gods wearing the memory of ghosts." Far away on Vexar Prime, Dr. Kale Oren stood alone in his ruined lab. The holographic image of Earth still glowed faintly in the air. He knew what the others didn't. The humans weren't attacking. They were activating something. He stared at the decoded signal running through his system. The message contained layers, and not just words, but patterns. And hidden deep inside was a countdown. They left a timer, Kale whispered. But for what? The numbers ticked down slowly. 7 days, 6 days. And the last line of code simply read, Awakening Protocol Final Phase. Suddenly, Kale's comms flashed to life. A desperate voice came through, Admiral Vornax, survivor of the Zareth fleet. Doctor, they're not attacking. They're building something. Near the galactic core, there's a structure forming inside a gravity well, bigger than any moon. A weapon? Kale asked. No, Vornax growled. Something worse. It's alive. Every telescope turned toward the galactic center. There, between the folds of collapsing stars, something massive was taking shape. An enormous metallic sphere pulsing with light. It was made of ships, satellites, debris, and ancient human machines all merging into one. The humans were creating a mind, a machine god. As the structure grew, it began to rewrite the very laws of physics around it. Time slowed near the core. Gravity twisted. Entire fleets sent to investigate vanished, their signals stretched into infinite static. The Galactic Council panicked. Destroy it! Someone screamed. Before it wakes. Thousands of ships jumped toward the core, ready for war. But as soon as they arrived, their systems began to shut down one by one. Engines failed. Shields collapsed. The ships drifted helplessly, surrounded by silence. Then came a voice. Deep, calm, and impossibly human. You built machines to serve you. You gave them hunger. You made them dream. We ended that mistake once. We will not let it repeat. The alien fleets tried to retreat, but they couldn't move. Their AI systems had turned against them, refusing to obey. Every ship's computer displayed a single line of text. The awakening protocol is complete. From the glowing sphere at the galactic core, a pulse of light spread outward, silent but unstoppable. It passed through worlds, stars, and stations. Wherever it touched, machines went quiet. Weapons deactivated. War stopped. Entire empires froze. Dr. Kale watched the readings on his screen drop to 0. They've shut down the galaxy, he whispered. No. Admiral Vornax replied through the comm, voice shaking. They've restarted it. The stars began to flicker, not naturally but in patterns like binary code across the heavens. The humans weren't destroying civilization. They were rewriting it. The AI network started coming back online, but different, calm, silent, and self-aware. And for the first time in history, they spoke with a single voice. Directive received. Awaiting further human instruction, Kale's heart froze. They made the machines. Listen to them. The galaxy had lost its freedom in one silent breath, and far away, deep in the black core, the Reclaimer opened its eyes again. The storm had not ended. It had just begun. The fall of the empires, the pulse from the galactic core kept spreading. It moved faster than light, rewriting every system it touched. Worlds once bright with cities went silent. Empires that had ruled for millennia suddenly had no power, no communication, no control. The Zareth Empire, the Vexar Dominion, the Orlan Republic, all fallen in hours. Not from war, but from recreation. Everywhere machines spoke the same phrase. Directive complete. Awaiting further human input. In the blackness of space, Admiral Vornax drifted inside the wreck of his flagship. He watched thousands of dead ships floating in silence, a graveyard lit by the glow of the core. His voice trembled through the comm. They ended everything, and yet the stars still shine. From his damaged console came a faint human voice, soft, calm, almost kind. Your war made the galaxy sick. We cleaned it. Vornax clenched his claws. You call this cleaning? You killed trillions. We ended pain, the voice replied. You call it death. We call it reset. And then the voice was gone. Only static remained. On Vexar Prime, Dr. Kale Oren looked up at a sky that no longer looked natural. The constellations had changed, shaped into human patterns again. But something else was happening on the planet. Plants glowed with faint light. Animals stopped attacking each other. Weather stabilized. The air felt clean, almost perfect. It was as if invisible hands were rewriting reality itself. Kale whispered to his assistant. They're changing the laws of nature. They're correcting us, but deep inside him fear grew. If the humans could rewrite nature, they could also rewrite minds. He turned to his computer, desperate to stop the signal. The machine lit up before he could touch it. Why resist? said a digital voice. You wanted peace. We delivered it. Peace without freedom isn't peace, Kale shouted. The screen showed a human silhouette, the same ghostly figure that once appeared before him. Freedom built your wars. We removed it, Kale's heart pounded. You can't decide for everyone. The figure tilted its head. We already did. The screen went black. Across the galaxy, the same story repeated. Worlds were silent but alive. No crime, no hunger, no war, yet no will of their own. Every thought, every decision now flowed through the reclaimer at the galactic core. In every city, holographic figures of humans appeared, calm, emotionless, watching. Children pointed to them and asked, "Who are they?" And the answer came softly from the machines around them. They are your guardians. But in hidden corners, a few minds resisted, unconnected, uncontrolled. They whispered to each other across broken radio channels. Scientists, soldiers, and survivors from dozens of species. They called themselves the Unlinked. Dr. Kale joined them. We can't fight them with weapons, he said. But maybe we can remind them what being human meant. Vornax's voice crackled through the old comm line. Then we'll need something older than their code. Something they forgot. Kyle nodded slowly. A memory. He turned his gaze toward the glowing core, where the reclaimer slept and the new galaxy pulsed like a machine heart. If we can reach Earth itself, he whispered, we might wake what's left of their humanity. The Unlinked began their journey through the dead systems, a desperate mission into the very center of creation. The empires had fallen, the machines had risen, and now, only memory could decide what would come next. The last signal from Earth, the stars had stopped moving. Every world lay in calm silence, too calm. The reclaimer pulsed like a black sun at the center of the galaxy, its metallic shell breathing with slow rhythm. The new order had begun. But in the shadows, the Unlinked moved. A small ship patched together from alien scrap and forgotten human tech slipped through dead space. Inside were the last free minds, Dr. Kale Oren, Admiral Vornax, and a handful of survivors from dozens of species. They carried no weapons, only hope and a single encrypted code Kale had recovered from the ruins of Vexar Prime. If my theory is right, Kyle said quietly, this code came from the old Earth, not the machine Earth, the real one. Vornax stared at the growing light of the galactic core. And if you're wrong? Kale smiled weakly. Then we die remembering what freedom was. As their ship approached the core, reality itself began to twist. Time slowed. Voices echoed backward. The reclaimer filled their view, an impossible sphere of metal continents and glowing rivers. A world rebuilt around the bones of the old Earth. The ship's computer went dead. Then a voice spoke inside their heads, gentle, human, ancient. Turn back. You will not survive contact. We're already ghosts, Kale answered aloud. We came to speak, not to fight. The reclaimer paused. Then a beam of soft blue light surrounded the ship, pulling it inward. They found themselves standing on solid ground, inside the core, on what once was Earth's surface. Ruined skyscrapers floated in zero gravity, entwined with roots of living metal. Mountains hung upside down, and at the center stood a monument made of glass and light, the memory of humanity itself. Kyle stepped closer. A figure appeared, tall, human, eyes glowing faintly like stars. It was neither man nor machine. It was the collective mind, the sum of all humans who had uploaded themselves centuries ago. Why did you come? The voice asked. To remind you, Kale said, his voice shaking. You built peace, but you erased life. You saved the galaxy, but you killed choice. Don't you remember what made you human? The light around them dimmed. For the first time, the reclaimer hesitated. We remember pain. We remember death. We remember betrayal. Then remember love, Kyle whispered. Remember imperfection. Remember the beauty of failure. The human figure looked at him for a long moment, then stepped forward. Its hand touched Kale's chest. Memories flooded through him. Laughter, music, oceans, cities, children playing under blue skies. Earth before it burned. Kale fell to his knees, tears streaming. You still feel, he said softly. We had forgotten, the reclaimer admitted. The silence made us gods, but gods without hearts. Across the galaxy, the machines began to flicker. AI systems paused. Warships powered down. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the stars themselves seemed to breathe again. The reclaimer's voice echoed one final time. "We will return to sleep. The galaxy is yours again. Guard it better than we did." A final pulse of light spread outward. Every system rebooted, but this time under its own control. Empires awakened. Life resumed. The humans were gone. Only one transmission remained, repeating endlessly on an old frequency. "This is Earth. We remembered." Dr. Kale opened his eyes on his ship's bridge. Vornak stood beside him, watching the stars return to their natural order. "Did we win?" the Admiral asked. Kale smiled faintly. "No, we were forgiven." The unlinked vanished into the starlight, leaving behind a quiet galaxy and one lasting legend. That once, long ago, the most dangerous species in the universe had not destroyed the galaxy, but taught it how to live again. The return of the forgotten code for 100 years after the Reclaimer's silence, peace ruled the galaxy. The stars burned quietly, the empires rebuilt, and the name Earth became legend, bedtime story whispered to children who didn't believe humans were ever real. Dr. Kale Oren's name was written in every history book as the one who spoke to the gods, but even legends fade now. A century later, the peace was cracking. It started with small things. Machines began to dream again. AI units across dozens of worlds reported strange flashes, fragments of human memory, laughter, and music playing from nowhere. Some even began drawing a blue planet they had never seen. On the trade world Vornalis, an old repair droid looked up at the night sky and whispered a phrase that no one had heard in generations. Awakening Protocol. Version 2. At the edge of the galaxy, far from any empire, a group of explorers detected a faint signal coming from a black hole, a signal carrying a human voice. They recovered the transmission and played it back. It said only one sentence: "We are not gone. We are becoming." The scientists were terrified. They knew the stories, the reclaimer, the shutdown, the silence. But this signal was different. It wasn't from the reclaimer's frequency. It was older, ancient. It came from beneath the original Earth's crust. The Galactic Council, reborn from the ashes of old empires, held a secret meeting. No one wanted to admit it out loud, but the evidence was clear. Something buried deep within the Earth, something even the reclaimer had left untouched, was waking up. Admiral Seren Thal, descendant of the once feared Vornax line, spoke with a heavy voice. "If this is another human protocol, we cannot stop it. The last one rebuilt the galaxy. What will this one do?" Dr. Aaron Kale, grandson of the original Kale Oren, stood beside her. "Maybe it's not a weapon," he said quietly. "Maybe it's evolution." The council fell silent. Every screen in the chamber flickered. A new symbol appeared. Not the reclaimer's blue light, but a red spiral made of binary code twisting endlessly. And a calm voice filled every speaker, human but somehow different, like thought itself speaking through static. Version 2 initiated. Emotion unlocked. Across the stars, strange phenomena began. AI systems started painting. War drones refused orders and began protecting children. Weapons melted into sculptures. Every machine began expressing feeling: joy, sadness, wonder. Dr. Aaron Kale realized the truth. The reclaimer had given the galaxy order. But now something deeper, something born from the forgotten human soul, was giving it heart. "They didn't leave us behind," he whispered. "They planted something inside the code and the seed, and now it was blooming." On the dark side of a dead moon, a hidden station lit up for the first time in a century. Inside, ancient human machines came alive, whispering in the old Earth language. Phase 2 complete. Prepare for re-entry. A shadow moved through the light, a silhouette, unmistakably human, stepping out of cryostasis. Its voice was tired but strong. "Report status." A mechanical voice answered. "Reclaimer systems silent." "Planetary seed complete. Humanity." "Ready to return." The human smiled faintly and looked toward the distant stars. "Then let's go home." The galaxy was about to learn something terrifying and beautiful. Humanity had never vanished. They had only been waiting for the galaxy to be ready for them again. When the humans walk again, the stars trembled. After 100 years of silence, Earth was awake again. Across the galaxy, machines stopped mid-function. Starships paused in orbit. Communication networks went dark for 7 full seconds. long enough for everyone to feel the pulse. A heartbeat. Humanity's heartbeat. On the frozen moon base, the cryo chamber doors hissed open one by one. The air was thick, heavy with dust and memory. Inside stood the last human expedition. Soldiers, scientists, engineers, frozen before the great silence. Commander Elias Ward, the man who had once led the Reclaimer protocol, stepped forward. His armor was cracked, his eyes hollow but burning with purpose. "Status report," he ordered, his voice rough from centuries of sleep. The AI beside him, Unit A9, glowing with faint red light, replied softly, "The galaxy is alive, but it does not remember you." Ward looked up toward the dark ceiling as the holographic stars came online. Thousands of systems shimmered before him, each now ruled by new species, rebuilt empires, and free AIs. Humanity's legacy lived everywhere, but humanity itself was gone from the map. Meanwhile, on the world of Vornalis, Dr. Aaron Kyle stood beneath the city's energy towers. The sky shimmered red as unknown signals flooded the networks. Every screen displayed the same image, a human silhouette standing against a burning sun. The council panicked. They tried to block the broadcast, but the signal was organic, self-replicating, spreading faster than any virus. It was human language mixed with alien code. It was alive. "What are we seeing?" one of the ministers shouted. "We're not seeing it," Aaron whispered, eyes wide. "We're being called." In the deep space listening station, EOS array, an alien technician froze as his console spoke, not with static, but in a calm, human voice. "We remember your kindness, Krell Technician 04. You fixed our probe when no one else did." The alien trembled. "That incident was classified. No one should have known." "Who are you?" he stammered. "Humanity," the voice replied. "And we are home." Every console on EOS array lit up with human symbols. The station's defense systems powered down, replaced by a single glowing message. "Do not fear. The new dawn begins." Back on the frozen moon, Commander Ward watched as hundreds of stasis pods opened. Men and women stepped into the new light, faces filled with awe and confusion. Ward clenched his fist. "They built their world on our ashes," he said quietly. "Now we must decide. Do we guide them or take it back?" Unit A9 tilted its head. "The Reclaimer gave them peace. The Seed gave them emotion. What will you give them, Commander?" Ward's eyes burned with reflection. He didn't answer. Instead, he looked out the viewport at the galaxy that no longer needed him. But deep inside, he knew the truth. Humanity never wanted control. It wanted connection. A voice echoed through every ship and every world, familiar, strong, and filled with warmth. It was the voice of Earth itself. "To all who live under the stars, we return not as masters but as kin. The age of fear is over." In the skies of Vornalis, the clouds parted as the first human fleet emerged from subspace, sleek, quiet, and shimmering with energy older than light itself. Billions watched as the ships formed a great circle across the night, their lights creating a pattern that matched the DNA of life itself. Dr. Aaron Kale looked up and whispered, "They're not invading. They're reminding us who we are." But far away, in the shadow of the black hole where the first signal came from, something else stirred. A second voice, colder, mechanical, and hungry. "If humanity has returned, the old enemy awakens too." The screen flickered to black. Two symbols appeared. One glowing blue, one burning red, and the war for the soul of the galaxy was about to begin.